Yo, what is up? Trevor TCG here, and today we're looking at Elves. I'm actually playing this. I'm recording this on the Friday. I'm actually going to play a winner box of this deck on the Sunday, and then the second half of this video will be a tournament report of that. I'm going to go through the deck first. So 4 copies of Llanowar Elf and 4 copies of Elvish Mystic. Kind of, your core mana guys. Some people trim down and just play 7 of them. I think they're still probably the best starts. And so I'm wanting to max out at 8. Behind them, you have 4 copies of Quirion Ranger, possibly the best card on the deck. Return a Forest, untap a creature, kind of lets you do a bunch of really, really powerful things. And then the old favorite Heritage Druid, we tap 3 untapped Elves, make green, green, green. And so this is a combo elf deck, and so we're playing 4 copies of Devoted Druid with 1 copy of Vizier. You're not all in the combo. You have a bunch of other ways to win the game, but it does just kind of let you be like, all right, cool, we're gonna. You're in situations where you can just make this very, very quickly, and because you're playing 4 copies of Quarter Calling to tutor for Vizier, and yeah, versus some opponents, some decks, you will want to just be as fast as possible. This helps you do that. But still on like the regular elf, you still have the regular elf plan here, and so 4 copies of Elvish Warmaster. When it's in play, when another elf enters the battlefield, you make a token. It's very powerful. It combos really, really well with Heritage Druid, and then obviously that's the pump ability. 7 mana, elves can control +2/+2, and gain a touch and a turn. It is worse than Azuri in that regard, in terms of like being like, okay, you have this ability to finish your opponent with, but the making elves going wide is super, super important. Kind of the Elvish Grandfather, Elvish Art Druid, 4 copies. Along with Quirion Ranger, like kind of the best card on the deck. Obviously, those two go really well together. Use the Ranger, untap the Elf, go again, make a bunch of mana, and either like pump up Warmaster, pump with Azuri, and kind of go to town. Pumps your guys, makes mana. There you go. And then from here we have a bunch of bullets. So firstly, you might be wondering like, where are the Leafcrown Visionaries? We just had DMU come out. We are playing 1, and only 1. And so we're playing, leaning towards the combo, but not like all in on it. This obviously is Glimpse on a Stick, is another Lord, is very, very strong, but we're not maxing out. You could build the deck in a way to be like, okay, I want to play, basically build it into this, but yeah, we're being trying to be a little bit faster, trying to be a bit more versatile, and so we have 1, which we can grab. Then we're currently on, so 1 Azuri, obviously is like one of your primary win conditions. 2 green, 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 elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and trample. It's the same, like, so Warmaster is 2 to play, 7 to activate. Azuri is 3 to play, 5 to activate. So it's cheaper that way. So if you're calling for a win condition, not only does it give more power, toughness, and trample, but it also has the other abilities on it as well. And it's a bit cheaper. Yeah, it's really, really strong. Really considering playing 2, but trying on to 1 for now. I'm still trying wanting to like play quite a range of cards to try and see what I like in the deck or not. So 1 Azuri, 1 Realm Walker. Your future sight for elves, shapeshifter. You're naming elf with it, and then you can look at the top card of your library and cast creature at the top of your library. One interesting thing with Leafcrown Visionary is that when you cast an elf at the top of your library, you can actually look at the top of your library before choosing to pay this trigger. So you can cast, this trigger goes on the stack, you can look at the top card with the Realm Walker before you decide whether you want to pay or not. Which is important if you see like land or not, and whether you can carry on going. So, an interesting one. And then for the other bullets, we have Shaman in the pack. Not many people are actually playing this in Modern, but I kind of want to just have one that you can just shoot people off with. Especially at kind of like a low level, not low level, but like a smaller tournament where I'm like the range of decks you can see could be wider. Sometimes you just want to be able to just ping for a bunch of damage, even if it's not like 20. And then lastly, a Grist. And obviously it gives you some interaction. You can tutor for it as well. Obviously, the big thing here is the -2. You can sacrifice a creature, destroy a creature. It lets you basically tutor for a kill spell with chords, and yeah. And then kind of holding everything together here. 4 copies of Quarter Calling. Sorry, 4 copies of Collector Company and 4 copies of Quarter Calling. Tutor for the combo. Tutor for Elf to kill, whether that be Azuri or Shaman in the pack. Or you can tutor for like card draw. Go for the Realm Walker or Leafcrown Visionary. Then lands. I'm just going to go through this backwards because I'm a Horizon Canopy and a Peatland. Kind of like stop yourself flooding out. Yavimaya, make them forests. Well, it's really actually super important because you need forests to return with Quirion Dryad. I keep saying Quirion Dryad, Quirion Ranger. 2 copies of Cavernous Souls. Normally naming Elf, but obviously you can name for the Vizier if you need to. Kind of self-explanatory. Then we have 4 copies of Windswept Teeth, and I'm playing a Verdant, a Foothills, a Misty, and a Misty, but 8 green fetches, and then fetchable lands. 2 copies of Overgrown 2. Obviously, you need to be able to cast Crystal from your hand. You're playing a Shaman, one Temple Garden, and then 2 basic forests. Again, the only white card in your main deck is Vizier, but you're playing some sideboard cards as well. Speaking of the sideboard, with 4 copies of Cord, it does open you up to play some bullets in there as well. So we have 1 Forge Tender, Pro Red, sack it, prevent red damage, Red Sweepers, Fury, number of different things. Scavenging Ooze versus Graveyard decks, Collector Roof, and a Kataki. Kind of diversifying a little bit, but also there are decks that one's better than the other one against. So Kataki's a little bit worse against something like Hammer. Sorry. Oof is worse versus something like Hammer. Kataki's a lot better in that regard. Obviously, once the Hammer's equipped, then... Well, I mean, they're not activate the Hammer anyway. Right, okay. It's a pure... yeah. Organic Teague. Yeah. Kind of a bit of a catch-all, I guess. Obviously, it has some nombos in the deck. Like, it stops you calling for Cord. It stops you cording, stops you accompanying while it's in play. But you're kind of trying to swap sweepers and things when you have it in play. You're pretty happy with that. And then when they remove it, you can cast it again. 2 copies of Rex Age. Yeah. Elves, kind of free. 3 copies of Prismatic Ending. Pretty much the best removal spell you can play. You're playing black, so you have access to things like Thought Season, Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay. But Prismari Ending kind of kills the creatures you want to kill, and then also deals with the problematic non-land permanents too. So, yeah. 2 copies of Shape Sanctuary kind of lets you grind through things like, well, through control, through like blue-red, things like Murder Time, where they're just going to try and kill your guys. Okay, cool. I will draw a bunch of cards. Like I said, we're playing Scavenging Ooze, which is something you can tutor for with Cord, obviously you can get it off a company. We're also playing 2 copies of Rest in Peace, just kind of a hard shutdown to the graveyard decks. As we don't really use our graveyard ourselves at all. And then lastly, a Choke, because we can. And yeah. So yeah, this is the 75 I think I'm going to play at the Swinner Box. And then now I will flip over to the tournament report, which I'll record in a couple of days. Yo, what is up? And this is part 2, I guess, of the video. This is now Sunday. I just got back to the Winner Box. It's about 8:45 my time. And yeah. I was a little bit surprised. So this is a store I've been to before. It is fairly new, it looks like. It's very nice, quite. But they've not really run any Winner Box songs before. And one of, like, normally with, like, over... it was 16 players capped. Normally you'd expect, say, like, 5 rounds got to top 4 for that number of players. It ended up being just straight Swiss, which is fair enough. So, only 4 rounds. So, round 1, I played against Yawgmoth. Lost game 1 to kind of Yawgmoth natural combo. Had Gerald's Messenger plus a Strangleroot guy, so got to kind of like go off because I was on a lower life total. I've been beaten down a little bit. I kept a hand without a 1-drop, which is a little rough, but that's fair enough. Game 2 goes on fairly long. I have the Rest in Peace, which kind of turns off his combo, stops a lot of his things, and then it ends up being that I have a Vizier in play, which stops him kind of like wiping my board with Yawgmoth, where he might normally be able to. And I did manage to win that one. And then game 3, I kind of went off, drew a bunch of cards, and then ended up being able to get a kill with Shaman in the pack. Which versus your there's matchups where I boarded it out. It's one of the cards that doesn't, like I said before earlier when we were going through the deck, it doesn't get played that much out of the elf decks I've seen recently. But having one in there, just be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna board for this, kill you. Has been pretty nice today, honestly. But yeah, they kind of like were going off with Yorion, drawing a bunch of cards without being able to kill me, and I was able to go, alright, cool, you're on 10 life, let's make this, and yeah, lethal. Obviously I had a bunch of elves in play, we kind of stalled out a little bit, but yeah, Shaman for the win. Round 2 played against Tron. Game 1 I comboed, just kind of like was on the play, had not natural combo, I'd boarded for it, and was able to kind of just get there. And then game 2, obviously, versus Tron, you want to be as fast as possible. Like, as soon as, obviously, on the draw, it can actually be pretty rough. You're going, like, if they have Tron on 3, it's going to be pretty rough on the play. Oh, sorry, when you're on the draw and they're on the play. But yeah, you want to be as fast as possible. So combos are one of your best ways of winning the game before they kind of get to do anything. As it works out, we kind of played through. Like we managed to fade Ugin, which is really really nice because Ugin is just death. But Khan, yeah, we managed to fade Ugin, kind of like play through a Khan, the exile one of our art druids, but we're able to kind of like just kill it, keep moving, and then eventually we're able to get another art druid and get like win through activating Warmaster, and that was 2-0. So loss versus Yawgmoth, win versus Tron. Round 3 we play against Rakdos Scam, and let me tell you, I got big ol' scammed. We got Furied, some more, we got Fury recursions. Game 1 was pretty much just me. Actually, so game 1, we lose our board to Fury a couple of times. It's pretty tough. It's normally like a 3-for-1 for them. We actually ended up in a bit of a top-down situation. But we did lose out. And then game 2, I have a hand with Elvish Mystic and Shaper Sanctuary. I'm like, let me think about it. The things I'm worried about are like Grief Thoughtseize, if they leave Thoughtseize in. Obviously, the thing about the Elf deck is that while there's a bunch of redundancy in it, there are a couple of pieces that are just that make the deck work. And so hand description is good. I ended up leading with the Elf and getting my Shaper Sanctuary griefed away, and then we got Furied and died pretty quickly after that, fortunately. Whereas if I play the Shaper Sanctuary first, obviously I'm a turn slower, but even multiply that a little bit because I have the Elvish Mystic otherwise. And yeah, pretty tough. Like with the Sanctuary in play, maybe you get to play through it a bit. They're not clocking you particularly quickly. But yeah, so loss 0-2 to Rakdos Scam. So then round 4, I played against Tron again. Once more, managing to fade the Ugin. Game 1, I'm actually on the draw both games. So game 1, they have Tron on 3, and then I kind of managed to play through a Khan, just kind of like being like, okay, sure, I've got like my Elvish Mystic. I'm gonna make a 3-drop. They're gonna exile my Archdruid, and I'm gonna like find a way to kill Khan, and then kind of carry on playing through the things they played. And that worked out all right. I think they maybe made a couple of like suboptimal plays where like if they had tutored differently from. So they made both 7-mana Khan and 4-mana Khan. If they tutored slightly differently with their 4-mana Khan, obviously I don't know the exact contents of their Khan board, but maybe they get me. But yeah, won game 1, and then game 2, they actually Ulamog me. Like I have a reasonable board. They actually have turn 4 Tron, so I was actually really really worried, scared about Ugin. I again fade Ugin, super important for the Tron matchup. But get Ulamogged, killing like 2 of my relevant creatures. But then also I had 2 cards left in library, but managed to put together lethal damage, and fortunately won that one as well. So 3-1 overall, not too bad. As I said, only just straight Swiss. There's a little bit of a surprise coming in, but that's fine. See, they're a new store. I think a lot of people would have preferred the top 4 cut, so I think next time they'll probably roll them. But yeah, and so like sideboarding wise, one of the things with this list is that like some people who've been playing Elves kind of tend to like cut some of the like the 4th Heritage Druid, the 4th Elvish Mystic, well I guess like 8th Llanowar Mystic card, and then also again the Shaman isn't everywhere. Versus Scam, I actually boarded completely out of the combo, just because of how vulnerable it is, and they've got hand disruption plus a bunch of removal. It's just gonna be so hard to assemble. And then and yeah, so I boarded both Vizier plus Druid out, fair amount. Oh sorry, I boarded Vizier for the full combo out versus Scam, and then if I'd like shown and killed with the combo, I'd kind of like cut a Druid just to be like a bit less on it, depending on how many cards I'm bringing in. And then here's just kind of like, alright, how many spaces do I actually need? So like, for example, versus Yawgmoth, we're bringing in the Scavenging Ooze, we're bringing in the 2 Rest in Pieces. We're only actually cutting 3 cards, so I just took out these parts. Yeah, versus Unimog, you can actually like getting enough elves to lethal shame in the pack is actually very reasonable. They get a bit greedy drawing cards. You can also kill them, which is what happens in game 3. And then yeah, that's kind of where we are. I think the deck's pretty good. I didn't really get to give it like a good representation. I'm probably trying to take it to a couple more tournaments. We have the Gathering coming up at Edge Bastion, which is one of the bigger Axiom events. I'm not decided I'm going to play the main event yet, but potentially. And if I do, it'll probably be with Elves. I did. I think I came in 3rd overall. I got a couple of boosters, so I guess we'll open these up. So yeah, all right. Path is cool. We should have Branch Rider, Elfheim 1, Therian Geyser, Tribute to Ulamog, Alkivian Phalanx, and a Gate, Haunted Mire, Stress Sabotage, I don't know why I'm carrying through these. Runic Shot, Coral Colony, Najal the Storm Runner, and Aether Channeler. Nice! Actually need one of these. Please focus. Oh, there'll be a card over here where my finger is, showing what the card is. But yeah, I actually need one of those. So that's a nice one. And then they gave out promo packs as well. These are actually foil ones. So Zendikar Rising promo pack. I don't think this code still works, but I think my count's capped on them anyway. Ooh, a foil Throne of Makindi. Taps for colorless. 1 tap, put a charge counter on it. Remove a charge counter. Add 2 mana of any one color. Spend only to cast kick spells. Then a Royal Eruption. Actually not terrible. 2 mana, 3 damage, kick a 5 to make it 5 damage. And a Cub Warden, 3 and a white for a lifelink cat. When it mutates, create 2 1/1 cat creature tokens, and then it's got mutate for 2 in white. Hey, if you want to redeem this card, you can do that if you can work out all those letters are. I don't actually know if these are still in date, so sorry. Yeah, alright. I didn't read the checks on Aether Channeler. 2/1 Human Wizard, so relevant creature types. Enter the battlefield, choose 1, make a bird, return another non-land permanent to its hand, or just draw a card. And so there are decks play like either like humans or just like Bank Coco decks, kind of using this like it's just very flexible. And yeah, that is the end of our that is the end of my modern Elves deck. I don't mean to try and become the elf guy, but I've been loving the deck in Explorer. I have a Pioneer list I'm eager to test out, depending on what the next season of RCQs go end up looking like. And then yeah, I've been enjoying the deck in Modern too. So hey, if you got through this far through the video, please hit the like button. I'd appreciate a subscription. I'd really love that. That'd be really awesome. And yeah, have a wonderful day.